Hey folks, Segasonicfan here, back again with my upgraded again WESD51. And for those that might remember or have seen my other videos, I made a wonky, very janky video of some hacks I did to this many years ago. I've had this particular soldering station for almost 20 years, and it shows. Man, the plastic on this is just falling apart. You can see I've glued it in all sorts of places. But what I wanted to just show was the upgrades I did for yours, which these actually look the same over the years, from what I can tell. First things first, though, is safety. And one thing, I actually accidentally produced a very big spark when I was working on this. I stupidly left it plugged in at one point and thought that this was a kill switch for the AC mains. And boy, is that not the case. One of the reasons why I think this produces so much noise over the years, possibly, in the transformer, with the transformer vibration, is because it is constantly being powered. The AC goes to here, and as long as it's plugged into the wall, this transformer is always being powered and always producing 24 volts AC, which it says right over here. Under the T-395, it says 24 volts AC. So this only switches the 24 volt line. And you can see I added heat shrink tubing. I didn't shrink them in case I need to unplug those later. But that is where I accidentally shorted things. When I was removing the transformer, the ground wire went ahead and touched one of those. Big spark. Not so good. Fortunately, it did not kill it, which is really nice. But yeah, just covering the 24 volt AC with heat shrink tubing is a good idea, and then leaving this top on for sure for the AC, for the 120 volt AC mains if you're like in North America. So what did I do to fix the noise on this? Well, a couple things, some of which you can probably see from the outset. I went ahead and added, well, first things first, actually the screw posts, the standoffs that these screws go into were totally broken. And we're not threading anymore, which is a huge problem because these need to be tightly threaded since these are the ground and they're grounded onto the frame of the transformer. That was a big problem. What I ended up doing was using JB Weld, and I used a technique that I found in a video online, which I will try to share in the description. But I ended up using their strongest JB Weld. This is the one that's like for really high temperatures, but you can use their plastic weld, I'm sure, too. This is their steel, whatever. Anyway, you just use some JB Weld and or epoxy of some kind, although I'm pretty impressed with this stuff. And it's nice that it has two separate tubes, which makes it a lot easier to mix without a mess. So you put that in one of the standoffs, you kind of fill it up, and then you put some of this stuff, like the plumber's tape. I'm blanking on the name of this stuff right now. Anyway, you put this stuff on the end of your screw, and then you screw it into where the epoxy is. And because the epoxy won't, it'll adhere to the metal and the plastic, but it won't adhere to this stuff. So that keeps your thread, and then you give it a partial dry time. I waited like 4 hours, and then I was able to unscrew it, and it looks like it retained those threads, which I'm quite pleased with. It's very cool. So those are now threaded properly, and then you can see I put some dampening down here under the transformer, and I put some dampening on the 4 transformer pegs, the mounting standoffs. So the screws just cut through these. These are just furniture feet, nothing special. But that adds an extra amount of dampening, and then of course you have the 4 rubber stoppers on the bottom here that also have dampening. In addition to that, I've also added dampening inside the case here, which kind of works as a resonant chamber. And you can see I've had to just put some hot glue for now and some of the JB Weld over here. It doesn't look pretty, but it's going to hold up fine. From just, this stuff is just so brittle. It's 20-year-old plastic, and it's just really showing its age. But I did clean it and sand it, so it actually looks a little better. And hopefully I should be able to get quite a bit more life out of this good old workhorse. So yeah, that's I believe that's the tricks for the sound dampening stuff. And then I put in above and below, as I mentioned in the other part 1 of this video, I put in M3 screws that are believe my threads were damaged, so I ended up using 8 millimeters, M3 times 8 millimeters, but M3 times 6 should be fine as well. And now that's basically the main way that the board is attached to the front plate, which is really odd. And then I put in this aluminum potentiometer knob, which I like a lot more. It's a little wiggly because I think the potentiometer is starting to wear out from all the years of use, but that's not a big deal because I have the part number. I'm just gonna get another one just to have on hand. And you can see it's got a little bit of a play here. I might try to put a metal washer on there to give it less play, but like I said, it's a part that I have that I can get for like $1.50 and replace that later if I need to. So I'll show it to you in action. I turn it on here. It's already hooked up to the iron. By the way, if you don't have one of these little silicone rubber holders for your dry solder brush clean mesh wire there, I recommend them. They're really quite good. And you can see here this little tiny knob gives me a lot more control. I really like it. It's going to be really quiet here so you can hear the noise, if the camera will even pick it up. Try to get really close in there. I can't hear it from a foot away. I don't know if you can hear it. It's a little something, but it's, gosh, it's subtle now. I'm going to put on the top lid now. Let's see if it resonates in this at all, or if it's going to do all right. You want to be really careful doing this stuff because you got the AC mains and all, and the 24-volt AC as well. I've got this little yellow wire. Don't be like me, folks. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to turn it off first. Don't be like me. Be safe, kids. Live long, healthy lives without electrocuting yourself. Boy, this thing is being annoying. Just needs a place to put the wires, essentially. I'm going to get it more tightly on there later because I'm going to have to jimmy with some of those wires, but let's see if the noise comes back. And noise would be worse before this is screwed down and secured properly, if it's going to be there. Usually it starts up around 650 Fahrenheit. I can hear it. I don't know if you can hear it. It's there, but it's certainly a lot more subtle. And I forgot to say the other thing that I did, I don't know how much impact it had, but I also put a little bit of the JB Weld epoxy on the plates here, as you can see, because I believe it's the expanding of these plates that's causing the noise. So maybe that helped a little bit. Shrug. But all in all, I think it's going to be a win for removing some of that, for dampening some of that annoying sound that the transformer makes, which I believe, by the way, is much worse over time because my newer station up there does not sound nearly as bad. So yeah, these stations are not without their quirks, but it's done me well for 20 years now. I don't know if a lot of electronics are going to be kicking butt for that long. And so, I think it's worth taking care of it. Hopefully this video is useful to you. Feel free to leave any comments if you want to let me know. It's always nice to read people's kind words. And have a nice day. Have fun repairing stuff. Segasonic Fan, signing out.